part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another Reghi Roda podcast powered by MGM Northfield Park right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out to our producer extraordinaire, Ty Courts, making sure all of this reaches you wherever you might be out in that wonderful podcatosphere. And Michael Reghi, the last time you and I talked, some optimism, even though the Cavs blew home court advantage in the first two games. They came back and blew out the Knicks in game two to even the series at 1-1. And you and I both thought, okay, worst case scenario, Cavs are coming back tied 2-2 heading into game 5 on Wednesday night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Well, that did not happen as the New York Knickerbockers and their bully ball took care of the Cavaliers in games 3 and game 4, Michael. And very disappointing the way the Cavaliers played and how scared they looked, how the inability to make adjustments in game, it seemed like, bothered me from the coaching staff. How the lack of physicality in their game is coming to the forefront in these 4 games so far with the New York Knicks.
Yeah, Ken, it is. And unfortunately, it kind of made me reflect upon that very good late 80s, early 90s Cavaliers squad.
Yep.
That, seemingly got bullied by the Detroit Pistons, the New York Knicks, the Chicago Bulls. And when the playoffs hit, that always became a factor. It's obviously a factor here too as well. That's the Cavaliers are, Kenny, they're a finesse team. You and I both know that. And when you're on the road in the playoffs, playing against a team that you pretty much know, you just use the term bullying, you pretty much know they are going to be extremely hands-on with you. A lot of contact, a lot of physicality. They're going to crash the offensive glass. And if you don't have any answers to that, Ken, well, the results are what you saw in games 3 and 4. And, interestingly enough, we also know, too, look, this team is about when Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, because, Ken, this is something I brought up on our podcast before, they're taking about 65% of the team shots, right? We know that. Yeah. And both of them going to have to play well, or at least one of them really up to his normal game, and the other one have a good game. Well, that hasn't happened in game 3 and game 4. Darius Garland was terrible in game 3, went 4 of 21 from the floor, looked like he was just scared out of his mind. And today, of course, Donovan Mitchell had a very poor game as well, with just 5 of 18 from the floor and didn't hit a 3. So when these things happen, Ken, when one of those two doesn't at least play respectably well, I don't know how the hell you expect the Cavaliers to win, quite frankly. That's my bottom line on it.
I'm with you 100% on that. This team is built around that backcourt. And you and I both mentioned throughout the season they need to run through the front court a little more and get the bigs involved from the get-go. And when did they look their best? And we're taping this on Sunday night. When did they look their best in game 4 on Sunday, Reg? The beginning of the third quarter, right?
Yes.
And what did they do? They spread the floor. They got Caris LeVert to handle the ball to get both Garland and Mitchell off the ball to take some pressure away from them. And they used that high pick and roll with Jared Allen to get some easy baskets. And all of a sudden they went from 9 down to 1, 2, 3 points up. Yep. And then they got away from that the rest of the way once they took the lead. And it's so damn frustrating to watch JB Bickerstaff and his, coaches over there not call a timeout, not stress this in the huddle. They went back to the damn stanky leg with Mitchell, who couldn't throw it in the ocean, and Garland too. And it just drives me up a god darn wall whenever I see this on a regular basis.
Now, I understand your frustration. I tweeted it out right at the time after the Cavaliers' third possession of the third quarter. It's like, damn, Caris LeVert is initiating offense here.
Yep.
He's running offense. Mitchell and Garland are coming off either high pick and roll or Garland was off the high pick and roll. Mitchell was trying to come off ball screens down on the baseline. And I thought, and you're right. And all of a sudden, I mean, a few minutes in, after 3 or 4 successful possessions, they went right back to giving Garland the ball to come up the floor again. And I'm like, well, yes, kind of confounding to be sure. And, both of us really expected the Cavaliers, never expected them to win 2 in MSG. No,
right. No.
We expected them to win 1. And today really had to be the one after what happened on the other night in Game 3 when the whole thing was just a damn disaster. So now you're in this situation where you got to win 3 in a row, Kenny. And, honestly, I just don't see that happening.
Reg, LeBron James isn't walking through that door. Kyrie Irving isn't walking through that door. Dare I say, Kevin Love, who was on this team, isn't any longer. He's with the Heat. He's not walking through that door. So everybody say, well, we've come back from 3-1 before. That's when you had LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. And those guys aren't on this roster. And Reg, I sent this tweet out after the game. The Cavs in games 3 and 4 were out-muscled, out-hustled, out-shot, out-rebounded, out-played, out-scored, out-coached, out-everything. And they played scared and soft, petrified and weak. And in the playoffs, your weaknesses are exposed and exploited. Yeah. And I think we are seeing that through the first 4 games of this series by Tom Thibodeau, who is doing a much better job preparing, adjusting his team than what JB Bickerstaff has so far.
Yeah, how about today? Thibodeau? He benched Julius Randle for almost the whole second half. And, that's the guy. That's their main guy. And Thibodeau said, no, I don't see it happening this way. So there's an example of a coach, pulling a string and really not giving a damn whether his best player, his team, the fans, any of them think about it. That's what he felt was the best way. And they came back and got the win over the Cavaliers. And Kenny, again, I got on Jared Allen a little bit today.
He deserved it, Michael. He's playing super soft. He makes the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's how soft Jared Allen looks.
Yeah, 17 offensive boards for the New York Knicks today, Kenneth. 17 offensive rebounds that led to 21 second chance points.
Yep.
Now, folks, you just can't win games that way. That you virtually eliminate your possibility of winning when those things happen. And Jared Allen, I tell you, I don't know. It's everything you just said is unfortunately starting to ring true. And I'm just not sure if you can have him as your 5, your main big, because we know, again, Evan Mobley's got to get bigger and tougher too. But now you got the 2 of them together.
Right.
Against a team like the Knicks. And for all of you that want to say, well, the Cavs are more talented. Well, look, what we're trying to point out to you, in playoff atmosphere, there's a lot more that goes into it. And the Knicks are just completely have grabbed the Cavaliers by the throat and basically said, you can't be anywhere near as physical as we can, and we're going to show you why. And there you go. That's it.
Reg, they lack that dog, that nastiness, right? I was looking at the other playoff teams. Marcus Smart on Boston, Draymond Green with Golden State, Bobby Portis, Jimmy Butler, Marcus Morris, right? There's that one guy that he knows what his job is, right? He's like the enforcer in hockey. His job is to go out there, knock somebody on their ass, elbow somebody in the mouth. Don't give up an easy layup, maybe get a technical or 2, even get thrown out. But to set the tone that we ain't taking this shit down low with on my team. It's not happening.
There you go.
They don't have anybody on that roster that is anywhere near that. And you need that this time of the year in the postseason. And here's what we're going to hear. They may win game 5, but they're not winning 3 straight. Sorry, people. They haven't shown me anything that makes me believe they can win 3 in a row. And this is what we're going to hear. Well, we had a very good regular season, and we took a step forward from last year, made the playoffs. Yeah, we didn't reach our goal of the second round, but it's still growth. And I'm going to say bullshit on that. When you're the 4th seed and you had home court advantage throughout the regular season to use it in the postseason, you gave that away in game 1, and then you're getting pushed around like this. No, I'm not buying that. That's going to be on Kobe Altman, the coaches, and the players to look at themselves in the mirror and realize this has to change, or guess what? Next year, they keep the same roster intact, and I don't know how they're really going to be able to add anybody to it with their salary cap situation, Michael. They're going to run into the same roadblocks next year.
Yeah, well, all of that is going to become a thing. And I'm going to tell you what, as you just said, you win 51, that's great. But, man, when you're the damn 4 seed, you can't go out in the first round now. You cannot go out in the first round. And now people go, well, the Knicks, because they're tough and physical, and Thibodeau you can't go out in the first round and try to categorize that as you've had a successful year. No way. No. So I'm with you. I'm not buying any of that. They're going to have to do some things, and now you got a question. What's going to come in now? Are Kobe Altman and J.B. Bickerstaff the guys to make this happen? I mean, you mentioned a lot of guys, Kenny. What P.J. Tucker with the Philadelphia 76ers.
There you go.
He shoots the ball and he just goes and bangs people and gets on the defensive glass, right? And that's what the Cavaliers certainly are missing. They don't have anybody that's Donovan Mitchell plays tough, but again, Donovan Mitchell, his job in this team is to get you close to 30 every night, right?
Yep.
And when he's turning, and Kenny, did you realize too, another thing I tweeted out today, a thing that I thought for the last 2 games has Donovan Mitchell has turned the ball over 6 times in game 3 and again in game 4, 12 turnovers.
Yeah. I made a note of that for my radio show tomorrow, Reg. I was looking at his numbers. In this series, he's shooting 43% from the field, 30 from 3-point range, Reg. And he has a total of 16 turnovers in 4 games. So he's averaging 4 TOs a game and is averaging below. And what did we say before? Hey, the one thing we know Donovan Mitchell's going to raise his game because he does that in the playoffs. He's been there before. He'll raise his points per game, 3 to 4 points per game. So we know what we're going to get out of him. We don't know what we're going to get out of Garland, Allen, Mobley, LeVert, and Okoro. Well, Donovan Mitchell's averaging 22 points a game so far through 4 games after an 11-point performance today, Reg. And yeah, I'll give him credit. He said, I didn't show up for my guys. Ultimately, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and I'll take that. I got to just be better. My teammates did a great job. I didn't show up for them. That's on me, yada, yada. And that's fine. I give him credit for showing up, answering questions, and taking the blame. But, Reg, I'm very disappointed in Donovan Mitchell in this series. I thought for sure this guy's going to average 30 a game, and then we'll see who else shows up to help them win this series in 7 games. And Mitchell's been a major disappointment in this series. I don't know if he's hurt. Nobody's asked him that. I would have asked him that after the way he handled the ball and the way he's turned it over and his short, I don't know if it's his shoulder, if it's his finger, whatever it is, he just doesn't look right to me. So I would have asked him that, but that's as disappointed as I am in 2 games or a game and a half or 2 games by Garland. LeVert slow starts. The last 2 games, Reg, and I know they wanted to ride the hot hand after the game 2 win. I wouldn't have started LeVert. I would have started Okoro 3 minutes and then get him out just to keep the same rhythm going. And Okoro has started to play a little bit better as we saw today. So maybe that's a change they go to in game 5. But if they're going to play LeVert, I can't wait till the second or third quarter for him to show up. He's got to be from the jump, the guy that they put in there to take care of the basketball, to score the basketball and play some defense. He's been disappointing in his 2 starts in the first half of the 2 games. And I can just go down the list of everybody's been disappointing in this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'll be honest, I've defended Levert this year, and here's the biggest reason why, Kenny, is because, as I just said, he is pretty much when he's on the floor with Garland and Mitchell. Those two are supposed to be the guys that take, as I said, they take 65 to 70% of the Cavaliers' shots. I mean. Levert today, Kenny, he got 14 points on 9 shots. The other night he had 17 points on 11 shots. And I mean, there's only so much you're going to be able to do when he knows that Mitchell and Garland are going to take double the amount of shots that he takes. So, I mean, again, that's a thing where maybe that they're just going to have to figure it out. Maybe they feel like, it's doable. Maybe it's not doable. But that's why I liked what they did to start the third quarter. Give Karras the ball then. He can run offense, and he can, the one thing he does, that he'll get in the paint, and if needs to, or even off that high pick and roll, he'll get the ball to Mitchell and Garland, if that's the way you want to go. But they did it, I believe, for 4 possessions. 3 of them they got hoops on, and then they stopped that too. So, I mean, I just don't know. I don't think they've got overall. It just doesn't have between the years, Kenny, and to me, the right makeup or the will to and understanding of how they got to play every night. And again, you say, well, 4 seed, yes, but now you're seeing that the playoffs is an entirely different story. And I don't think that they're ready for that, or that they are indeed understanding of it. If you want to say, well, these guys haven't played in the playoffs, okay, but then you're saying then you're okay with getting done in and losing like this, and I can't go with that.
No, I'm with you, Reg. I mean, if they're the 8, 7, or 6 seed and they're on the road and they get beat 4 games to 1, okay, all right, you were the lower seed, but you were battling for the 3 seed all year long. You ended up as a 4th. You have the home court advantage. You give that away in game 1, and the emotion, man. And Reg, I tweeted this out, and you've covered it longer than I have. I have never in all the years I've covered professional basketball and basketball at any level, I've never seen a team play more scared in back-to-back games than the Cavaliers have played in the last 2 contests there at Madison Square Garden. And don't give me this bullshit that, JB Bickers, well, we were overhyped. No, you weren't overhyped. That's not why you played bad. When I heard that, I wanted to throw something at the TV. And that's just him trying to, make an excuse for his team, or, trying to calm everything down when everybody's calling them marshmallows and soft and finesse. Well, they're soft. They're a finesse team. And they are getting pushed all over the court, and they don't have an answer for it, Red. So don't give me this, they were overhyped. No, they're just not strong enough. They're not physical enough. They're not aggressive enough. And I wonder, the intensity sometimes lacks as well, especially right from the jump.
Well, that is right on time. You're not going to get an argument from me on anything you said. And, I've always felt, going back to what we talked about, I mean, man, playoff basketball, as I tweeted out today, Kenny, it's not for the meek or the mild of heart. Yeah. And boy, Jared Allen, this means you. Give Darius Garland a lot. He bounced back today.
Second half, yeah.
He was god awful in game 3 when he went 4 for 21 and was taking shots that I'm like, it looked like some 8th grade kid was coming and trying to get his jacks up. He played much better today. But now you didn't have Donovan Mitchell play well today. And again, Kenny, they're just so eccentrically connected with. I mean, we could go back and look even in the regular season. It's a different game then. But, Ken, they both have to be played. You want Garland to get, or Mitchell to have to be around 30 and Garland to be around 20. And if not, I mean, how the hell are they going to win? Well, they're not set up that way, because those two, and remember another thing, I've brought this out before, Kenny too, yes, they're both very good players, this is one of the smallest starting backcourts in the NBA. Both those guys are 6'1". Maybe Mitchell's 6'2" on a good day. But Kenny, it does make a difference. It does make a difference when you play against teams that have bigger backcourts, guys that are talented, effective, and like to take advantages of what they feel are mismatches. So again, you're playing with a small backcourt, and you've got about 70% of your offense tied up with those two. So, you tell me what that means at playoff time. I don't think it's a weapon for success.
Reg, Garland finished with 23, but he was 1 of 5 in the first half. So that means, going into halftime today, in his last 6 quarters at Madison Square Garden, he was 5 of 26. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he did have an outstanding second. I don't know if he just figured, we're getting our asses beat anyways. I got nothing to lose. And the pressure was lifted. I'm not sure. But he did play well in the second half. But like you said, you had him have a bad game in game 3, and Mitchell played okay, but not great. Well, then today you had Garland have a good second half, and Mitchell was horrible today. Absolutely horrible today. And so if one of those two has an off night, Jetty Osman threw up an air ball today at the end of the third quarter. And again, he's 2 hit or miss for me. Okoro played well coming off the bench when he was driving the basketball. Yeah, he hit 1 3, but guess what? They dared him to shoot 5 3-pointers, and he made one of them, and they'll give him that shot as many times as he wants to take it, Reg, because they know that's about what he's going to shoot, 20% from beyond the arc in the playoffs. So it's frustrating. And I know before the season started, I said, hey, as long as they make the playoffs, I'll be happy. And so I guess I'm being somewhat of a hypocrite because I'm giving them too much grief here today. And I'm upset that they're losing in the first round of the playoffs when I said that's all I wanted them to do was get playoff experience. But hey, man, I bought in. I thought, the way they held on to the 4th seed, played down the stretch, that this, it was the Nets or the Knicks, they were going to win the first round series. And yeah, they're not mathematically eliminated, but that's a steep hill they got to climb starting Wednesday in Cleveland against this team that they are now, by the way, Reg, they played them, 6 times, and they are 2-4 now against the.
Yeah.
Is that right? Let's see. They were 1-3 in the regular season and 1-3 now. Yeah. So they're 2-6.
2-6 in 8 games.
In 8 games. I'll get my math right. 2-6 in 8 games this year against the Knicks. And I just can't see them winning 3 games in a matter of a week when they've only beaten them twice in 8 tries before that.
Well, no, that's I don't think there's a chance to come back and win this series. And again, they have put themselves in this position. They had to win one of these 2 games in Madison Square Garden, and now they're in this 1-3 hole that's going to be almost virtually impossible to crawl out of.
I'll tell you how they crawl out, Reg. Here's the only way. Jalen Brunson goes down with an injury because they have nobody to check Jalen Brunson. They've got nobody for 4 quarters that can stay on this guy. I did the math on Brunson. Game 1, 27. Game 2, 20 points. Game 3, 21 points. Game 4, 29 points. But go and look at the baskets he's made late in games. It's not necessarily how many points you score. It's when you score some of those points. And he's been clutch in this series where Donovan Mitchell, who was supposed to be the counterpart of him, right? That was one of the storylines going into this. Mitchell has not been clutch in this series. Brunson's going 24-5-5 in this series against the Cavaliers.
Well, the best job done on him has been Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert
in spurts,
but it's just in spurts.
Yeah.
Like today, and again, I'm for this. As you know, I've said this before. I think it was on our last hour in our podcast. If I'm JB Bickerstaff, I'm telling Darius Garland, look, man, there's 2 damn ends of the floor. You have got to do whatever you have to do to defend this guy. We can't have mismatches running all over the floor because I can't have you defending Jalen Brunson. So there's a problem right to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay. And they did it a little bit today. And again, Garland played well offensively today after he got going. But just the whole thing is, to me, Kenny, Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio.
Oh, geez.
And I'm saying, I know I'll go against the fans here. Fans are going to hate me. And Jetty Osman, unplayable in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not playable.
Why not give Stevens? Why not give Stevens a few minutes to see if maybe his length, and I'm not saying you're counting on him to score 12, 14 points. Put his length on Brunson for 4 minutes a half, just to give whoever a breather, and then bring back LeVert and throw him on them, or bring back Okoro and throw him. Here's the thing. If it's me, and I don't know how you do this, Reg, because Randall's got that bad wheel, and that's why Thibodeau today said, look, in that fourth quarter, we kind of knew with the quick turnaround and his bad wheel that he might not be as effective today, and the way he played made it easier for me to sit him down the stretch. That was him knowing his player, right? So Not sure Mobley's done a nice job on him defensively, and I think he's hurt. That combination has limited him. But maybe because R.J. Barrett's starting to heat up now too and killing the Cavs the last 2 games. So you might have to go with Okoro and with LeVert on the floor at the same time, one on Brunson and the other on R.J. Barrett.
Pretty much.
You might have to give up some size. Yeah.
What other choice do they have? Osman ain't going to check nobody.
No.
Dean Wade ain't going to check nobody. And Ricky Rubio ain't going to check nobody and keep them in front of them. So, you don't have much of a choice. So that's the first thing I would look at. You pretty much got to have, and that's why I told you, Kenny, remember we were together, and I said, look, Cavs fans, you can go with this all you want. Here's the deal. You got 6 guys really that you're going to trust playing in this series, right?
Yep.
You got 6. At the time we said the starting 5 and hope that Okoro might hit a couple of completely open threes because nobody defends them, and Karis LeVert. Your starter and LeVert. There's 6 guys. Well, now, and you know what? I know a lot of people are killing Bickerstaff. I kind of get it, Kenny. I was thinking about it. It's like, so after game 2, right? This is when he did his normal starting lineup. But it was in game 3 starting the other day in MSG that Bickerstaff went to LeVert in the starting lineup. Kenny, you know what? I can't kill him for this because I think he figured, look, my best five offensively, right, are the Mobley, Allen, Mitchell, Garland, and LeVert. And I don't think too many people can question that, right?
That's not questionable. No, not at all.
That's your best 5 offensively.
Yes.
I think, JB Bickerstaff has done a whole lot of things that kind of make you go, damn, man. But I'm not going to kill him for that. He realized we're going on the road. We got to have offense, right? The problem is that Garland was horrible in game 3. LeVert didn't get going until the second half. Mitchell's horrible in game 4. And, LeVert had 14 points today and 9 boards, Kenny. He led the Cavaliers in rebounds.
How sad is that?
Well, you got a guy, you got your 2 guard leading it. But my point is that's the one thing I won't kill Bickerstaff for. He realized on the road, we got to have the best offensive unit on the floor we can have. And without question, that is proven to be for this team, Garland, Mitchell, Allen, Mobley, and LeVert. That's your best 5 offensively.
The only thing the reason why I would have stayed with Okoro is it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes the game. And I would like to try Okoro there just to see if I get anything out of him in the first 3 to 4 minutes. If not, then boom, I'm not hesitating. I'm going to throw LeVert in and I'm going to save some minutes for him because I know I got to play him in the fourth quarter. And you won game 2. I could see if they would have lost game 2, then I make the switch. I go back to, 2015, right? Steve Kerr waited till they were down 2-1 before he pulled, who's the big Australian side? Andrew Bogut. Remember?
Bogut. Yeah.
And they went small ball after they were down 2-1. The series was 1-1. I thought he jumped the gun a little bit on that, unless Okoro was hurting. And then, okay, tell me that, then I understand it, but you still came back. And he played about 20 minutes tonight, Okoro? 17 minutes tonight.
Yeah, he did. It was game 3, hardly played at all.
Right.
I think LeVert played 40 in game 3.
Yeah.
And, but, again, Kenny, look, if you're asking me, between the ears, you can say all you want. Yeah, fine, yeah. And this, I got to give this Josh Hart pickup for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's former college teammate at Villanova.
Yeah.
Listen, man, this guy he is a perfect, doesn't need the ball, but still finds a way to get 12, 14 points, going to board, going to play great D, and move the basketball offensively. Terrific pickup for the New York Knicks.
And Reg, there was talk at the trade deadline that the Cavaliers were interested in him too. Now,
Yes.
It would have meant maybe giving up LeVert, so that's why they didn't do that possibly. But there was talk about the possibility of picking him up. Okay, so it hasn't happened or didn't happen that way, and the Knicks are benefiting from it. So it's just frustrating at this point to see this team on the verge of being eliminated. Like we said, Wednesday night, 7:00, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Do or die, must win, backs against the wall, whatever cliche slogan you want to use. That's what the Cavaliers are facing. Reds, let's do this. Let's get a break in and let's try and figure out, maybe help out JB Bickerstaff, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe give him some pointers on what he needs to do to try and get this team focused and mentally prepared, and maybe they can lift some weights between now and Wednesday and get a little bit stronger or something like that. Yeah. And we'll come back. We'll give him some advice on maybe how to at least extend this series, at least into Game 6 in the Big Apple, New York City. The city so nice, they named it twice. And we'll do that when we return here on the Roda and Reghi and Roda podcast. Yeah,
either or, baby.
It's all of the above here on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tybus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tybus, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup, game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we continue with the Reghi Roda podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. And if you're looking for somewhere to watch the Kentucky Derby, watch and wager on the Kentucky Derby, then you need to head on out to MGM Northfield Park on Saturday, May 6th. Doors will open at 9:30 a.m. First post for the Derby, 10:30 a.m. They'll have live bands, food truck festival, 12 to 7, drink specials. Oh, yeah. Prize drawings. How about a $2,000 Gulfstream Park handicapping contest, a $1,000 Derby Day hat contest hosted by Seagram's, and so much more. Advanced wagering on the Kentucky Derby. You can start wagering on Friday, May 5th. Go check it out. MGM Northfield Park and enjoy the Derby. All right, Reg, what advice do you have for JB Bickerstaff? We said we'd give him some advice, maybe some pointers, some things to do between now and Wednesday to try and extend this series and win Game 5 and force a Game 6 in New York City. Any advice?
Well, how about the heart doctor to get your basketball players a whole bunch of heart? Maybe a trip to the Wizard of Oz, Kenny, is the best thing that could do JB Bickerstaff right for his squad. He's got a whole lot of issues that he's got to deal with before Wednesday night, Kenny. And I mean, we're going to talk about which way would you go. I mean, because of Brunson and now letting Barrett get rolling too.
Yeah.
It's almost like you gotta have both. You can't do it to start a game, I guess, unless you set down one of the bigs. But you gotta almost have LeVert and Okoro on the floor to defend either or one of those. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean,
no question about it.
So I mean, nobody else go defend them. I mean, don't tell me about Dean Wade and Ricky Rubio, and we know, I mean, Jetty, if Jetty hits a couple shots for you, then everybody loves him. But defensively, he's another one. He can't keep anybody in front of him. So, Kenny, I guess what I'm saying is, what do you think is more crucial if you're JB Bickerstaff? The offensive end of the floor, or making sure defensively you at least give yourself a chance to start a basketball game to keep the Knicks somewhat in check?
Boy, they've scored 100 points one time in this series, Reg. For me, it's the offensive end of the floor. I got to figure something out to score baskets. I've got to take a look at that third quarter, and I've got to drive home that point to take that stanky leg and flush it down the toilet with Donovan Mitchell and with Darius Garland, and somehow, get it in their thick skulls that the ball must move. The ball has energy, and when the ball moves, the defense can't keep up with the ball, right? And we saw it 3 consecutive times down, easy baskets for the Cavaliers to start that third quarter. So, that's number one. That's number one. And you brought up.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And again, it kind of surprised me. I don't know if Bickerstaff went to that or maybe one of the assistant coaches, but go back and look, fans, that Karis LeVert was initiating the offense. He was the one in those first 4 possessions of the third quarter. So you got Mitchell and Garland running off the ball. It looked like it caught the Knicks a little bit by surprise.
Yep.
And the Cavaliers put points on the board in 3 of the 4 possessions. So I don't know. Maybe go back to that. Give LeVert the ball, let Garland and Mitchell run off the ball, and then again, Kenny, they're going to get all the shots they want with them running off the ball.
You brought up the Wizard of Oz, Reg. What did the Tin Man need? The Tin Man needed heart, right? He needed heart.
Yep.
Yeah, the Lion needed courage. The Scarecrow.
Not Jason Hart.
No.
We're talking about heart in your chest.
That's right. Tin Man needs the heart. Lion needs the courage. Scarecrow needs the brains. Well, we got plenty of Lions and Tin Men on this team right now. They need a little heart. They need a little courage. This is big boy basketball. And if you want your season to continue, you better be ready to get knocked down, not once, not twice, maybe 3 times, and get back up a 4th time. What's the old Dwayne Wade Nike commercial, right? How many times he got knocked down? He just kept getting back up. Well, that's what I need to see first and foremost from these guys is the will, the want to win, want to extend this, want to go back to New York City. Okay. We're going to find out a lot about this team on Wednesday night, Reg, because if they lay down, if they get beat, they get blown out, that's going to tell me that team didn't want to go back to the, the zoo that is Madison Square Garden and that crowd that was all over them in these games. So, and that's a little bit of heart. Show me your heart. Show me your courage on Wednesday night. To me, those are 2 big things going in. And if I'm JB Bickerstaff, I know these are professional athletes. I know they're grown men. I got to find a way to get through to them. I got to do maybe do something that's uncharacteristic for him, or I don't know what that is, because I'm not in the locker room anymore like I used to be, reading body language and hearing, overhearing some conversations and whatnot. But he's got to do something to get through to this team, because 17 more offensive rebound, that's just about heart, determination, intensity, grit, whatever you want to call it. Going and getting the basketball or putting a body on somebody and ride them into the third row at MSG. So offense, that's a concern for me, but courage and heart, the Lion and the Tin Men need to show up with some heart, with some courage in Game 5.
100%. I mean, because if you want to go out, with a whimper and get beat 4 or 5 and 3 in a row to end your season, well, that's what this Cavalier basketball team has sitting in front of them. So you're right there, Ken. We're going to find out who wants to play and who wants to show that now we really do belong, and we want to accept the challenge of playing well and winning at home and going back to MSG. And Kenny, it'd be on a Friday night in the Mecca of hoop, and put it all out there, and show that you have got at least the chutzpah, shall we say, to want to play in that kind of magnitude and in that kind of atmosphere, because I haven't seen it in the first 2 in New York. So they got to win a basketball game at home to go back there. We'll see if they give themselves that chance.
By the way, Reg, Game 3, 79 points, the fewest points scored by an NBA team in the regular season or postseason this year. They lose by 20. They lose by 9 in Game 4, 102-93. We'll see what happens in game number 5, and we'll be back. If the season's over, we'll be back to break it down maybe sooner than next Sunday. If not, hopefully we're talking about somehow, some way, Game 7 is being played or was played involving the Cavaliers and the Knicks. But I ain't holding my breath on that. It could come to an end on Wednesday night, and if not Wednesday, I think it'll happen on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, you said, to win 3 in a row now, the way that this series has gone through the first 4. But again, show up, show that you understand the situation you put yourself in, and just don't go out, don't go out easily. That's all I ask, Kenny. If they play a strong basketball game and get beat, okay, sure, not okay. I mean, but they're not going to win the series. So they put themselves in this position. But if you could, I'd want to, if I were them, be able to say, let's go back to the Garden one more time and show we can win a basketball game there, and show we're not going to fold in front of what is the world's most famous arena with their fans. I'd like to see that. Therefore, obviously, I want to see them go out and play well and get a win on Wednesday night. Are they capable of that? That's another story. That's what we just talked about for the last 35 minutes.
Reg, and I'll throw this. I think we mentioned it earlier. I did. I'll just throw this out there, leave that window just cracked a little bit. Jalen Brunson goes down with an injury. Cavaliers can win this series. If both teams stay healthy the rest of this week, I can't see the Cavaliers winning 3 times in a matter of Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Is that the way it would be? Wednesday, yes. Friday, Sunday. Yeah. Correct. I can't see them winning 3 games in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, 5 days. Yeah. Can't see that happening unless there are some serious injuries to the New York Knicks. So let's hope though that they can prove us both wrong, and I'll gladly eat crow if the Cavaliers find a way to win the next 3 games and advance to the second round of the playoffs. And by the way, Reg, here we are looking at the playoff standings. 76ers wiped out the Brooklyn Nets 4-0. Boston just took care of Atlanta tonight to go up 3-1. You've got the Knicks up 3-1 on the Cavs in the East, and Miami leads Milwaukee 2-1. But this one's far from over because Giannis listed as questionable for Game 4, so he could return with them down 2-1. And now Victor Oladipo joins Tyler Hero out for the rest of the series with an injury. So the Miami Heat playing very shorthanded for the rest of this series. So I still think Milwaukee comes back to win that one. Boston's going to beat Atlanta, and New York, unfortunately, going to beat the Cavs. So I think those are the 4 teams that are going to end up moving on to the next round in the Eastern Conference.
No, you're right. And real quickly, see, this is why, for me, the Cavaliers winning this first round was just so crucial to legitimize, Ken, what they did. Well, let's tell you, we won over 50 games. All right, legitimize that. And then you're going to get either Milwaukee or Boston, right?
Right.
Who are the two top teams in the East? Hell, many would say they're the two top teams in the NBA. Yeah. That's what I wanted to see. Now you could and that would give you a real good crystallization for the Cavaliers if you're Kobe Altman and JB Bickerstaff. All right, regardless of win-lose, but you play one of those two top teams, and then you kind of get a feel, all right, this is what we need now. This is what we got to have. But you know what? They put themselves in a position that it's looking like that's not going to happen now, a chance to play Milwaukee or Boston. So, it's frustrating. We came on saying we're disappointed, and it's frustrating, Kenny. And I guess that's how we'll end this R&R podcast, with the frustration of this. Yeah. It is like just beyond imagination.
No doubt, Reg. All right, buddy. Always great catching up with you. We'll do this again real soon here on the Press Play Podcast Network. And we are powered by MGM Northfield Park. Get on out to Northfield Park for the Derby on May 6th. Have some fun, win some money, watch and wager there. Thanks to our producer, Ty Courts. Always a pleasure. And Reg, be well, my friend. We'll talk again soon, hopefully about some better things the next time we get on board R&R, all right?
Look forward to it, buddy.